when I say this stream is very last minute, I mean it is very last minute. That was practically like, okay, I was gonna stream earlier and then I didn't. Alright, okay, let me check if this works. It does work! Why didn't it work last time? Huh. Basically, I thought my stream deck didn't work, right? Because yesterday, when I tried to switch tabs or so, it didn't work. Like, it wouldn't switch tabs with like scenes and stuff. But then like, I just did it now and it worked. So it might have been an issue with GiveItAGit or like my hotkeys or something. I don't know. Ella, you doing? Wait, what's my intro? Ella, you doing? What is it? What is my intro? Oh my fucking god, what is it again? Hello, my name's Elias Jade. Hello, how are you doing? My name's... there we go. Hello, how you doing? My name's Elias Jade Dodger. How you doing, Governor? I fucking forgot my intro. Great start. Great start, Elias. You were doing fucking amazing today. Also, if you can see, I drew this. The asset, the hands that I'm holding my cat. Because my cat's in the room. And I was like, screw it. Let me hold my cat today. I want to hold my cat. The assets from the person who does quite a lot of the like free VTuber Studio stuff, but the hands, jump at me. They're not great, but I think they're alright. They do the job. Yeah. Okay, right. So I want a really chill stream today. Hello, hello, Dad. Yeah, I want a really chill stream today because cat, yes, cat. Yeah, because I was gonna stream about like 5 o'clock or so, and then I didn't. I had gym today. It was a very long gym session. I really, I worked hard. And I've been wanting to do like a reading stream for a while since since our Christmas Carol stream, which I really liked, me personally. I really liked the Christmas Carol stream. And also I was like, I'm just in the mood to read. So I thought like, what's a good way of motivating myself to just pick up a book and read? How about I stream it? So the book that has been on my radar, as you can see, pick up a Bible. I have been tempted to read the Bible, just as like, you know, I've never really read it in full, and it would just be like interesting, I guess. Ooh, reading, yes, ooh, reading. As you can see from the title, we are reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which is one of the fundamental Stoic texts. Stoicism gets a bad rep, generally, from a lot of people, because it's often used by, I guess, your like Sigma male grind sets and stuff like that. But from what I'm aware, it kind of isn't that. Like, it's very much about living in the moment, and it's actually, from what I'd read, it's actually a big fundamental thing for CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. Dip that grind set. Dip that grind set, yeah, let's go. Oh, you reading. I guess. I was like, I just needed an excuse to like read, and I thought if I stream myself reading, I will read. But yeah, so I don't know, I think lately I was really interested in reading some stuff that isn't like fiction, you know. I've been more interested in reading like some non-fiction, some like stuff like that. Not like, you know, I think I've said before, I have grievances of the self-help genre regarding like it's how it kind of needs you to be in a bad place. But Meditations, for a little bit of context for those who don't know it, it was composed basically as like journal. It was never intended to be published. So it was the journals of a emperor, I believe. There is, luckily, on the Gutenberg version, which we can transition to here. Oh, That's Blue Sky. Wrong thing. Yeah, that's the book. That's the book. Yeah, there is like a little introduction, which I think I'll read today because I would like to learn a little bit about the guy. I may also put a pinned message. Yes, the classic philosophical book of Blue Sky. Yeah, the Blue Sky philosophy is pretty anime, girls. Right, some contents of the book may be outdated. Please be warned. Yes, because I've read a little bit into meditations. So there are some things some language that is outdated by modern standards. So just to be aware, just to be aware, this is a book composed, this is like a journal composed in ancient Greek times, so I will, hopefully it's not like, yeah, outdated only by a few millennia, yeah, just the BC or so, not that bad. Oh, it's AD actually, it's early AD, so it's, after death, yes. I think we'll get right on into it. How about that? How are you all doing today, chat? As well, how are you all doing? I just feel super calm today. I feel super like, I just want to read. I want to read and I want the excuse to read. Let me make a list a little bit smaller so you can see my little handsy wansies. There we go. or even, where's the source? There it is. There we go. Hopefully the text should be alright. I think I've sized it alright so that you can see it. Alright. Sit up and... Marcus Aurelius Antonius was born on April 26th, AD 121. I just got off work, so entertained my ears while I look. Thank you for looking. I appreciate it. His real name was M. Annius Verus. Who knows Annas? And he was sprung of a noble family which claimed descent from Numa, second king of Rome. Thus the most religious of emperors came of the blood of the most pious of early kings. His father, Annius Verus, had held high office in Rome, and his grandfather, of the same name, had been thrice consul. Both his parents died young, but Marcus held them in loving remembrance. On his father's death, Marcus was adopted by his grandfather, the consular Annius Verus, and there was deep love between these two. On the very first page of his book, Marcus gratefully declares how of his grandfather he had learned to be gentle and meek, and to refrain from all anger and passion. Oh, spoiler. The Emperor Hadrian's Wall, if we're all aware. I'd love to see it. I've never seen Hadrian's Wall, actually. It's one of the things I've always been curious to go have a look at. And actually, interesting thing, Hadrian's lover is a really interesting thing to look up. Like, he had a boy that he loved, like boy man. You know how the Greeks were. Well, actually, there's Roman, isn't it? Yeah, it's Roman. And he worshipped the guy. He had he had sculptures and everything. I've seen one of them. It is beautiful, beautiful sculpture. I half-life, educate me while I make dinner. Hell yeah. I'm educating myself as well, huh? Where were we? Okay. The Emperor Hadrian divined the fine character of the lad, whom he used to call not Verus, but Verissimus, more truthful than his own name. He advanced Marcus to equestrian rank when 6 years of age, and at the age of 8 made him a member of the ancient Salian priesthood. The boy's aunt, Annia Galeria Faustina, was married to Antonius Pius, afterwards emperor. Hence it came about that Antonius, having no son, adopted Marcus, changing his name to that which he is now known by, and betrothed him to his daughter Faustina. His education was conducted with all care. The ablest teachers were engaged for him, and he was trained in the strict doctrine of the Stoic philosophy. This is what a lot of the book is about, Stoic philosophy, which was his great delight, yes. He was taught to dress plainly and to live simply, and to avoid all softness and luxury. his body was trained to hardihood by wrestling, hunting, and outdoor games. And though his constitution was weak, he showed great personal courage to encounter the fiercest boars. At the same time, he was kept from the extravagancies of his day. But I'm actually curious. I wonder what the extravagancies of Rome were at the time. The great excitement in Rome was the strife of the factions, as they were called in the circus. Elijah Dudgeon, 1920s writer and Stoic. Yeah, I guess so. It was something I've just been curious about. It's just been something I've been like, I want to look into that. I want to big brain myself. Elijah J. Dudgeon, we big brain, we learning. What the fuck is that word? Which word? Okay, let me have a great excitement in Rome was the strife of the factions, as they were called in the circus. Or Stoic. Is it Stoic? Oh, hardihood. Hardihood. His body, hardihood, so effectively, like, hardness, like, strength, really? Another word for strength also. So, his body was trained via wrestling, hunting, and outdoor games. Yes. The racing drivers used to adopt one of 4 colours, red, blue, white, or green. And their partisans showed an eagerness in supporting them, which nothing could surpass. Riot and corruption went in the train of the racing chariots, and from all these things Marcus was held severely aloof. Hard life goodness. Yeah, so effectively, is that similar to the Colosseums? Okay, last time to train. Hell yeah. I literally had gym today. I literally did leg day today. Oh, and my cat has just jumped on the floor where I'm about to do a push-up. Hello, girl. What's up? What's up? Good afternoon. Hello. Say hello to my cat. She's lovely. I think she wants to go out, which I guess also gives me the excuse to get up and push up. There you go. Goodbye, cat. Sorry looking at my forearms. Okay, God, I have no space here. What the hell? Alright, okay. Right, push up. Here we go. 1. There we go. Hello. Oh, hello, yeah. Hello. How you doing? Oh, not again. I have to do another push-up. Hello, everyone. How you doing? If you don't know me, hello. How you doing? My name's Elijah J. Dudgeon. How you doing, Governor? We're starting to read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, simply because. All right. Oh, is that 2? No. Okay, it's just another one. Okay, fine. I literally had leg day today. You guys are killing me. Alright. 1. There we go. Second one done. You're welcome. I need to be focused to read. So, can I read? I want to read. It's like right before bedtime. Hello, hi. Chad's making me exercise again. This is literally after gym today. We're getting swole, Elias. Come on. No brain, only muscle. True. I thought I'm gonna get really good fucking upper body at this point. My HJ's swole. Okay. So, for Raiders, to keep track, we're reading the introduction right now. And effectively just the introduction in Marcus Aurelius. Hello, Clive. Hello. Catch my breath, because we're reading. Yeah. So effectively, Marcus Aurelius was one of the Stoics of the Roman period. I said Greek, but it's Roman. This is not what I expect to see. I like books. And this is just one that I've been curious about. I've been curious to read. I've been curious. Reading is for nerds, get strong. I like reading! I like reading, I'm a fucking writer! I have to like reading! Stoicism, ooh, yeah, exactly! I think I've just been curious about some of his like advice for life, if you will. Nerd. Yeah, I'm a nerd. At least I'm cute. What if you just don't read what you write? True, true. I could just pretend I'm good. Elijah Judge 1920s right, a nerd. I own the fact that I'm a nerd. I love it. So yeah, so we're basically exploring, like, so the introduction is exploring that Marcus Aurelius grew up in nobility, if you will, but was raised on Stoic philosophy, which basically means live plainly and simply, and avoid extravagance. Right. So we're here. In 140, Marcus was raised to the consulship, and in 145, his betrothal was consummated by marriage. Yay! 2 years later, Faustina brought him a daughter. His wife brought him a daughter, and soon after, the tribunate and other imperial honours were conferred upon him. Oh. Antonius Pius, his grandfather, I believe this was. Not his grandfather. Was it? Okay, wait. Which one was Antonius? His aunt. Oh, his uncle. His uncle. Right, his uncle. The book tells you put down the book and start looking back. Honestly, though, you're not wrong. From the little bit I have read of this, you're not wrong. There is a really interesting part where Aurelius does say, "Get out of your books." I'll get in. I think that will be in. If we don't get to book 2 this stream, then like that'll probably be next stream. But there is a part where he says, "Get out of your book." Then he had the worst kid ever in the history of Rome. I don't know a lot about Roman history though, so you'd have to enlighten me on that. For some reason, this music gives me Mystic Messenger vibe. True. Marcus Aurelius says, "Stop being a fucking nerd." Yeah. Oh god, little fella, you're making it worse! I had leg day! Alright, sit up, here we go, right. Ugh! Hit the gym nerd, I did! 1. Oh, that was a weird angle. Yeah. God, I might need to start taking off my... I keep having my headphones on when I do that, and it's like... Big stretch. Okay, we can do a big stretch. Can I read? Can I read? Making exercise the most stoic thing possible. Maybe. Okay. Alright. Okay. Antonius Pius died in 161, and Marcus assumed the imperial state. He once associated with himself Alcyoneus Commodus, who Antonius... Is it Antoninus or Antonius? No, you can't really get back on stream. That's the title of the stream, let me read! Who Antonius had adopted as a younger son at the same time with Marcus, giving him the name of Lucius Aurelius Verus. Henceforth, the two are colleagues in the empire, the junior being trained as if it were to succeed. No sooner was Marcus settled upon the throne than wars broke out on all sides. In the east, Vologeses III of Parthia began a long-meditated revolt by destroying a whole Roman legion and invading Syria in 162. Oh, come fucking on. I'm reading interesting things about a man! You guys are making me swole! Alright, let me take off my headphones for this, because otherwise I have a fucking wire that I'm dragging around. Man, my room is so fucking tight. Alright. There you go, there's his setup. I swear to god, at this point I might need to start, like, getting rid of that. Not like getting rid of it permanently, but at least for reading streams, can I, like, can I read? This is what the man wants. But it's not what I want! I've done my exercise today, I've been good! I had a really long gym session today. Alright. basically not even a reading stream at this point. It's we literally give you the TLDR of the book. I don't know what the TLDR of the book is if I can't fucking read it! Right. No sooner was Marcus... Okay, right, so, Syria. Yes, Syria War. Varus was sent off in the hot haste to quell this rising, and he fulfilled his trust by plunging into drunkenness and debauchery. Oh, he's bad at his job. While the war was left to his officers. Soon after, Marcus had to face a more serious danger at home in the coalition of several powerful tribes on the northern frontier. Chief amongst those were the Marcomanni, or Marchmen, the Quadi, mentioned in this book, the Samaritans, the Catti, the Jazyges. That sounds like a band name. The Jazyges. I don't know what they are. And the Samaritans, that just makes me think of like Samaritans the charity. As we stoic, pick book, put down book, hit the gym. Red, wife, life good. In Rome itself, there was pestilence and starvation. The one brought from the east by Varus's legions, the other caused by floods which had destroyed vast quantities of grain. After all had been done possible to allay famine and to supply pressing needs, Marcus being forced even to sell the imperial jewels to find money, both emperors set forth to a struggle which was to continue more or less during the rest of Marcus's reign. During these wars, in 1619, 169, I can't read numbers. I'm probably number dyslexic. I'm probably got dyscalculia. I wouldn't be surprised. I have to like really spell out numbers. I can read. I'm good at reading. I can't read numbers. Right away, based on liars. Hell yeah. During these wars in 169, Varus died. We have no means of following the campaigns in detail, but thus much is certain, that in the end the Romans succeeded in crushing the barbarian tribes and effecting a settlement which made the empire more secure. Marcus was himself commander-in-chief, and victory was due no less to his own ability than to his wisdom in choice of lieutenants, shown conspicuously in the case of Pertinax. That sounds like a drug. We are learning how to be a mega joke through Elias sort of dodgy. I gotta lead by example! Pertinax. Well, Pertinax sounds like... Gonna be honest? Sounds like something you'd take for your dick. Sorry, Pertinax. Sorry, ancestors. Sorry. So, a stoic maxim with Elias J. Dodger. You're learning a lot from me today. There were several important battles fought in these campaigns, and one of them had become celebrated for the legend of the Thundering Legion. In a battle against the Quadi in 174, the day seemed to be going in favour of the foe, when on a sudden arose a great storm of thunder and rain. The lightning struck the barbarians with terror, and they turned to rout. In later days, this storm was said to have been sent in answer to the prayers of a legion which contained many Christians, and the name Thundering Legion should be given to it on this account. The title of Thundering Legion is known at an earlier date, so this part of the story at least cannot be true, but the aid of the storm is acknowledged by one of the scenes carved on Antonine's column at Rome, which commemorates these wars. Stoic maxing is Sigma unbased. Very skibbity, indeed. Isn't it so fascinating, right? That we can be reading about the lives and times of Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics of human history, and also be mentioning Skibbity Toilet in chat. how history collides that in the year of our Lord 2025 we can be reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius as a VTuber with Skibbity Toilet in the chat. I want to draw lies in the gym. Go for it, man. That would be so fucking cool. What would he say if he saw this today? I think first he'd have a heart attack. Live plainly, and then sees practically fucking anything that exists today. The concept alone of a computer would kill him. Or while we make a VTuber exercise. Yeah, exactly. Like, what is this strange tablet that you have? And I'm like, okay, right, so there's people on the tablet, right, and they like, they give me channel points, right, and they make me exercise, but also, like, you can't see it because I'm a VTuber, right, and this thing, so it's like an animated, like, thing, and it's like, what is animation? Marcus Aurelius is proud of you. Yeah, yeah, I think he is, yeah. He definitely is proud of Elias J. Dodger. The settlement made after these troubles might have been more satisfactory, but for an unexpected rising in the east. Avidius Cassius, an able captain who had won renown in the Parthian Wars, was at the time chief governor of the eastern provinces. By whatever means induced, he had convinced the project of proclaiming himself emperor as soon as Marcus, who was then in feeble health, should die, and a report having been conveyed to him that Marcus was dead, Cassius did as he had planned, Right, okay, Cassius did what he planned, so Cassius declared himself emperor. He's like, I'm emperor now. Someone help that tiny man who's trapped in that black rectangle. Call the police. Send the army! Send the troops! Send the gods down! The tiny man is trapped in a circle! Marcus, on hearing the news of his own death, I guess, it must have been like, what? I'm dead? Huh? Immediately patched up a peace and returned home to meet this new peril. The Emperor's great grief was that he must needs engage in the horrors of civil strife. He praised the qualities of Cassius, and expressed a heartfelt wish that Cassius might not be driven to do himself a hurt before he should have the opportunity to grant a free pardon. But before he could come to the east, the news has come to Cassius that the Emperor still lived. His followers fell away from him, and he was assassinated, as you do. Ah, I was wrong. It appears I'm dead now. Marcus now went to the east, and while there were murderers, while there, the murderers brought the head of Cassius to him. But the Emperor indignantly refused their gift, nor would he admit the men into his presence. Huh. Oh, my head's being brought up to the guy. He won't even see my head! What the hell? Tries to take the guy's place, gets killed because he was wrong about the guy being dead, gets his head taken to the guy and the guy refuses his head. What the hell? This is a love story if I've ever seen one. This is a slow burn. Angst is the category on On this journey, his wife, Faustina, died. At his return, the Emperor celebrated a triumph, 176. About his wife? Yeah, Rome is wild like that. It really is, yeah. Anyone in chat, like, study Roman history? Anyone a Roman scholar? If I get anything wrong, please let me know. Immediately afterward, he repaired to Germany and took up once more the burden of war. His operations were followed by complete success, but the troubles of late years had been too much for his constitution, at no time robust, and on March 180, he died in Pannonia. A little casually. Nice. The good emperor was not spared domestic troubles. Faustina had borne him several children, of whom he was passionately fond. Their innocent faces may still be seen in many a sculpture gallery, recalling with odd effect the dreamy countenance of their father. But they died one by one, and when Marcus came to his own end, only one of his sons still lived, the weak and worthless Commodus. That's mean! That's fucking mean! What the fuck? Who wrote this? Who wrote this introduction? Don't call him worthless. Oh, wait! Oh, is this because he's that emperor that... Yeah, right. Okay, wait. Why is he worthless then? Tell me. Anyway, to stop fellows to trap him within a crystal dodecahedron and kick it down a hill like a portly. This does not mean he was okay, right. Okay, let's read this then. On his father's death, Commodus, who succeeded him, undid the work of many campaigns by a hasty and unwise peace, and his reign of 12 years proved him to be a ferocious and bloodthirsty tyrant. Oh, okay. I see. Scandal had made free with the name of Faustina herself, who is accused not only of unfaithfulness, but of intriguing with Cassius and egging him on to his fatal rebellion. It must be admitted that these charges rest on no sure evidence, and the Emperor, at all events, loved her dearly, nor ever felt the slightest qualm of suspicion. Right. So, his son, one of his sons barely lived by the same standards of his father, and his wife may have been, you know, not that faithful to him, but he didn't know and frankly seemed to not care. Huh, interesting. That's interesting though, right? The way, like, we think about Marcus Aurelius as, like, you know, stoic, and you think about, like, the ways he was, but people around him probably weren't the same, you know, even people close to him weren't the same, you know, and it's like, it's so interesting, you know, that, like, you can have people with so many vastness to them, you know, like, some people with, like, very interesting life philosophies, and then others that are like, I'm gonna commit crimes. You know? It's interesting. Life is so full of interesting things. Yeah. As a soldier, we have seen that Marcus was both capable and successful. As an administrator, he was prudent and conscientious. Although steeped in the teachings of philosophy, he did not attempt to remodel the world on any preconceived plan. He trod the path beaten by his predecessors, seeking only to do his duty as well as he could, and to keep out corruption. Yay! Very, what if he was just autistic? People are like, wow, he doesn't care about anything, he must be above it all. I mean, okay, that would be interesting to read, like, meditations and do it from, like, a disability angle of just, like, was he possibly on the spectrum, you know? Like, are there signs? It's like, that's actually a pretty interesting way to look at it. Like, is there anything that can align? And then, like, can we learn anything about, like, a connection between stoicism and autism? You know? Here's my English literature brain coming out. Because again, I think, like, the stoic detachment, you know, like the stoic, I guess, loftiness, maybe? That sounds pretty interesting. Well, y'all reading it now. True. Maybe if I pick up on anything, I will let you know. Elias literary analysis, here we come. But yeah, I guess the, like, detachment thing could potentially be read as, like, an autistic sense of, I guess the lack of, you know, the perceived lack of feeling, also the very straight-laced aspects. And again, if we go off the idea of, like, autism as being you know, quite significantly gendered in its experiences and stuff, this could possibly be quite male autistic coded, but I don't know. We'll learn. Aurelius did some unwise things, it is true. To create a compeer in empire, as he did with Verus, was a dangerous innovation which could only succeed if one of two effaced him. And under Diocletian, this is very precedent caused the Roman Empire to split into halves. He erred in his civil administration by too much centralizing, but the strong point of his reign was the administration of justice. Marcus sought bylaws to protect the weak, to make the lot of the slaves less hard, to stand in place of father to the fatherless. Charitable foundations were endowed for rearing and educating poor children. The provinces were protected against oppression, and public help was given to cities or districts which might be visited by calamity. The great blot on his name, and one hard indeed to explain, is his treatment of the Christians. In his reign, Justin at Rome became a martyr to his faith, and Polycarp at Smyrna, I believe Smyrna. I had a chicken teriyaki wrap, but it was so fucking good, I genuinely felt sad when I finished it. Male autistic couldn't be. Female autistic couldn't be me. We got that autism in the house. Yeah. Charitable. Okay. Smyrna. There we go. And we know of many outbreaks of fanaticism in the provinces which caused the death of the faithful. It is no excuse to plead that he knew nothing about the atrocities done in his name. It was his duty to know. And if he did not, he would have been the first to confess that he had failed in his duty. But from his own tone in speaking of the Christians, it is clear he knew them only from calumny. They're not calumnias. And we hear of no measures taken even to secure that they should have a fairer hearing. In this respect, Trajan was better than he. Grolixian model is so funny. What the fuck? I love it. Oh my god, wait. I want to see this model. Ah! That's so cute! Ah! I'm at least looking at the thumbnail. It's like, oh, that's cute. I'll definitely check that out later. Absolutely. Okay. Oh. I opened a thing and now I'm trying to close the thing. Right. To a thoughtful mind, such a religion as that of Rome would give small satisfaction. Its legends were often childish or impossible. Its teachings had little to do with morality. The Roman religion was in fact of the nature of a bargain. Men paid certain sacrifices and rites, and the gods granted their favour, irrespective of right or wrong. In this case, all devout souls were thrown back upon philosophy, as they had been, though to a less extent, in Greece. There were under the early empire two rival schools, which practically divided the field between them, Stoicism and Epicureanism. The ideal set before each was nominally much the same. The Stoics aspired to... I can't read Greek. That's a lot of words. Yeah, that's a lot of words. This is the intro to Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. At least on the Gutenberg file, so it'll probably be different depending on what version you're reading. Gutenberg's probably the easiest one I can read regarding, like, one, public domain, and also, for streaming purposes, it's pretty, like, clearly laid out. I can't read. I know you can't. Ramble School was mentioned. Hey, yo. I can, but while reading, I get lost in thoughts and forget everything I read. True, and honestly, there's no shame in having to go back through what you read, and especially for, like, a book like Meditations and stuff. There's no shame in, like, if something catches your eye and you're like, hold on, wait, I was, like, drifting off a bit, going back and being like, okay, let me, like, pick this apart word by word and be like, okay, what didn't I get here? There's no shame in that. If anything, it helps your understanding. Yeah. There's no shame, but it's irritating. Yeah, but, like, everyone reads at their own paces. Like, little fella, I know he's, like, quite a slow reader. He reads very slow. But for me, I can read really quite fast. And there's no shame. Everyone reads at their own pace. As long as, like, you know, you have your ways of enjoying it, you have your ways of understanding it. Like, that's what matters in the end. Yeah. But speaking of reading, I can't read Greek, so I've been outed. I have no idea how to pronounce. Wait, no, okay, right. I think I read too fast. Yeah, and again, there's no shame in going back over and being like, okay, I didn't understand this. How can I, like, you know, what did I miss? What caught my attention? What did I miss? You know, no shame at all. And likewise, regarding format, you know, if you read by audiobooks, no shame in that. Read digitally, no shame in that. Read physically, no shame in that. You know, reading's great, and you gotta read how you read best. Yeah. Me personally, I struggle with audiobooks. I feel like my attention kind of wanes with them, so I don't really take it in. But I can flip between, like, digital and physical pretty well. I like flipping between the two mediums because then, like, if I struggle with one, I can probably read the other. Yeah. The Bhagavad Gita is a great read if you're looking for a different perspective on philosophy and approach to life. Yes, I know you do, Meg. You recommend that one a lot, so it's a good maybe. Yeah. I once read 6 mangas in one sitting, like, a few hours. Yeah, manga I find really easy to read. I find manga really easy to, like, flick through. We flip it. Yeah. Okay. Gonna pretend I said that. Gonna pretend I knew how to say this. The repression of all emotion. Oh, Stoics. Stoic philosophy is the repression of all emotion. And the Epicureans to this, freedom from all disturbance. Yet in the upshot, the one has become a synonym of stubborn endurance, the other for unbridled license. With Epicureanism we have nothing to do now, but it will be worth a while to sketch the history and tenets of the Stoic sect. Minecraft guidebook. The Minecraft Bible! We should read the Minecraft Bible on stream. It changed how I see death, I'm gonna be real. Interesting. I might have to read that, because I have a kind of crippling fear of death. I think, like, my fear of death is effectively, like, dying before I'm satisfied, before, like, I can achieve, I guess creatively, I have a fear of death in the sense that I can't achieve some of the things that I've meant to set out to achieve. So, yeah. Make sure to have Hatsune Miku on the side 3 of us. Yes, absolutely. Bible 2, NPC free combo hand guide. What about Bible 4, Tekken 8's controls? Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, not Zero from Marvel 3. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, was born in Cyprus at some date unknown, though his life may be said roughly to be between the years 350 and 250 BC. Cyprus had been from time immemorial a meeting place of the East and West, and although we cannot grant any importance to a possible strain of Phoenician, I believe? Bible 4 King's Move List. Oh yeah. In one of the bio in Chinese and the other Mozart 4 times faster. God. That sounds like a nightmare. Phoenician blood in him, for the Phoenicians were no philosophers, yet it is quite likely that through Asia Minor he may have come in touch with the Far East. He studied under the Cynic Crates, but he did not neglect other philosophical systems. After many years' study, he opened his own school in a colonnade in Athens called the Painted Porch, or Stoa, which gave the Stoics their name. Next to Zeno, the school of the Porch owes most to Chrysippus, 280 to 207 BC. God, I cannot read numbers. But we have to go through Babel 3 first, the Street Fighter Xrd mechanics. Street Fighter Xrd, Street Fighter Xrd. Street Fighter Xrd, I want to know what that is. I know Guilty Gear Xrd, I know Street Fighter. Don't know what Street Fighter Xrd is. I love that movie. I know there's a paperback erotic Minecraft story that got print, and it's so obvious the woman that wrote it hasn't played a single second of Minecraft. I need to read that. Little fella, please send me that. That sounds so fucking funny. There was like 6 thoughts coming to me at once. Yeah, true. I'm also reading fucking the introduction to meditation, so you know. I will. Thank you, little fella. You're committing a public service here. Thank you. Chrysippus, right, who organised Stoicism into a system. Of him, it was said, before Chrysippus, there had been no porch. So Chrysippus was the, effectively the founder of this colonnade, this group, I believe. Read the one Harry Potter fanfic that is famously bad. Oh, what, My Immortal? Yeah, My Immortal reading stream could be funny. Public service and a felony at the same time, yeah. I am reading like a good little girl. My immortal, my beloved. I stabbed myself with a stake. Hello, my name is Ebony Darkness, the Mancha right away. The Stoics regarded speculation as a means to an end, and that end was, as Zeno put it, to live consistently. Pretend I read that. Or as it was later explained, to live in conformity with nature. Pretend I also read that. This conforming, live consistently, live in conformity with nature. This conforming of the life to nature was the Stoic idea of virtue. This dictum might easily be taken to mean that virtue consists in yielding to each natural impulse, but that was very far from the Stoic meaning. In order to live in accord with nature, it is necessary to know what nature is. And to this end, a threshold division of philosophy is made into physics, dealing with the universe and its laws, the problems of divine government, and teleology, logic, which trains the mind to discern truth and false, and ethics, which applies the knowledge thus gained and tested to practical life. The only purpose is to consume any Harry Potter media. True, I agree. The Stoic system of physics was materialism, with an infusion of pantheism. In contradiction to Plato's views that the ideas or prototypes of phenomena alone really exist, the Stoics held that material objects alone existed. but immanent in the material universe was a spiritual force which acted through them, manifesting itself under many forms, as fire, aether, spirit, soul, reason, the ruling principle. Material... Okay, right. Material objects alone existed. Right, so... Huh. But a spiritual force acts through the material. Okay, right. Think I'm getting it. The universe, then, is God, of whom the popular gods are manifestations, while legends and myths are allegorical. The soul of man is thus an emanation from the Godhead, into whom it will eventually be reabsorbed. The divine ruling principle makes all things work together for good, but for the good of the whole. The highest good of man is consciously to work with God for the common good, and this is the sense in which the Stoics try to live in accord with nature. In the individual it is virtue alone which enables him to do this. As providence rules the universe, so virtue in the soul must rule man. Right, okay. This is one of the things that caught me with the little bit I have read of Meditations, which is really interesting compared to this, this introduction. Aurelius even says it himself that he writes in very simple speech. And reading this introduction is not fucking simple speech. It's very, the way it's phrased is quite, like, a little bit hard to wrap my head around certain bits. But I want to keep reading it because, like, I'd like to at least have a base understanding before we approach the text. But that's one of my issues with introductions sometimes, is one, they spoil the text, and two, they're quite wordy, they're quite dense, so I think, like, they can be quite, unapproachable. But to, I guess, bring these two bits down or so, the material world exists, and there's spiritual forces that act through them, and then they manifest in ways such as, like, fire, water, I guess. What? You don't understand me neither. Yeah, I'm trying to break it down a little bit. So, like, okay, if Plato believed in phenomena, then, give me 1 second, What? I have a really thick fire door, right? And, like, my door's being pushed open, and I'm like, okay, I think a family member's coming in, so I'm like, okay, I'll go get the door, because I think it's a family member. No, my cat was just pushing open the door! She really wanted to come in! Cat's back, say hello to cat. Book is called Blocks of Lust, a muff. I'm gonna read that. I'm so gonna read that. Here is a light and beginner-friendly explanation of the book. Presents quantum physics explained in Latin. Okay, but, like, effectively, if phenomena is, I guess, the abstract, the Stoics believe in more of the material with, like, an aspect of the spiritual acting through them, maybe. And then the universe then is God, of whom the popular gods are manifestations. And then legends and myth are allegorical. So the universe itself is God. So everything within existence itself is God. And then the soul comes as, like, a part of God in the same way that the gods do. And then we get reabsorbed into God. And this is, like, the divine principle. And the highest good of man is consciously to work with God for the common good. So, effectively to live good in line with God. Yes. I think that makes sense. Universal will, huh? Yeah, good again. In logic, okay, this is quite a dense paragraph, I can already see. In logic, the Stoic system is noteworthy for their theory as to the test of truth, the criterion. Oh, criterion collection. They compared the newborn soul to a sheet of paper, ready for writing. Upon this, the senses write their impressions, and by experience of a number of these, the soul unconsciously conceives general notions. So, we get impressions from the senses, and then we get notions on those senses, or anticipations, unconsciously conceived. So we get like a sense of how things are based on our senses. Gods. Where does life come into the book? Probably soon. When the impression was such as to be irresistible, it was called one that holds fast, or as they explained it, one proceeding from truth. Okay, how we come to the idea of truth, I believe. Ideas and inferences artificially produced by deduction or the like were tested by this holding perception. Of the ethical application I've already spoken. The highest good was the virtuous life. Virtue alone is happiness, and vice is unhappiness. Carrying this theory to its extreme, the Stoics said that there could be no gradations between virtue and vice, though of course each has its special manifestations. Moreover, nothing is good but virtue, and nothing but vice is bad. Those outside things, which are commonly called good or bad, such as health and sickness, wealth and poverty, pleasure and pain, are to him indifferent. That's the word for indifferent? Is that a Persona 4 reference? I haven't played Persona! I guess! All these things are merely the sphere in which virtue may act. The ideal wise man is sufficient. The ideal wise man is sufficient unto himself in all things. There we go. And knowing these truths, he will be happy even when stretched upon the rack. So, if you're struggling, the wise man will be able to, still live a happy life even if, life isn't going that great, because he's living based on virtue. Right. It is probable that no Stoic claimed for himself that he was this wise man, but that each strove after it as an ideal much as the Christian strives after a likeness to Christ. The exaggeration in this statement was, however, so obvious that the later Stoics were driven to make a further subdivision of things indifferent into what is preferable there and what is undesirable there. Okay, so later Stoics had a distinction there between things we like and things we don't like. They also held that for him who had not attained to the perfect wisdom, certain actions were proper. There we go. These were neither virtuous nor vicious, but, like the indifferent things, held a middle place. So I guess, later Stoics kind of divided between where, I guess early Stoic was quite overreaching, if you will. 2 points in the Stoic system deserve special mention. One is a careful distinction between things which are in our power and things which are not. Desire and dislike, opinion and affection are within the power of the will, whereas health, wealth, honour, and other such are generally not so. The Stoic was called upon to control his desires and affections, and to guide his opinion, to bring his whole being under the sway of the will or leading principle, just as the universe is guided and governed by divine providence. So effectively, willpower. Yes, willpower. This is a special application of the favourite Greek virtue of moderation, and has also its parallels in Christian ethics. The second point is a strong insistence on the unity of the universe, and on man's duty as a part of the great whole. Public spirit was the most splendid political virtue of the ancient world, and it is here made cosmopolitan. It is again instructive to note that Christian sages insisted on the same thing. Christians are taught that they are members of a worldwide brotherhood, where is neither Greek nor Hebrew, bond nor free, and that they live in their lives as fellow workers with God. So I guess the foundations of Christian belief and the foundation of Stoic beliefs are quite similar, which is always really interesting. I find it really interesting when I guess philosophies and religions and stuff, where they can come up around the world. They don't have to come up from necessarily the same places. They can come up from around the world and still kind of have similar guiding principles. I find that always really interesting. And maybe a poor, starving, homeless my life worth me for another man, but I'm Stoic, so it's all good. Well, I mean, there were Stoics like that. I believe there was that. I think you know about this fella. There was that one famous Stoic who, I believe it was Stoic, a Greek philosopher who lived homeless. His entire life, he just lived it homeless. But from legends and stuff, he apparently was okay. But yeah, I mean, There's like valid complaints in Stoicism. I totally understand where the complaints are just like, yeah, you know, it's tough to be Stoic if you're living in a situation like that. He who lived in a barrel. Yeah, something like that. Oh, the guy that masturbated in the street. What? I didn't know that. Such is the system which underlies the meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Some knowledge of it is necessary to the right understanding of the book, but for us the chief interest lies elsewhere. We do not come to Marcus Aurelius for a treatise on Stoicism. He is no head of a school to lay down a body of doctrine for his students. He does not even contemplate that others should read what he writes. His philosophy is not an eager intellectual inquiry, but more what we should call religious feeling. The uncompromising stiffness of Zeno or Chrysippus is softened and transformed by passing through a nature reverent and tolerant, gentle and free from guile. The grim resignation which made life possible to the Stoic sage becomes in him almost a mood of aspiration. His book records the innermost thoughts of his heart, set down to ease it, with such moral maxims and reflections as may help him to bear the burden of duty and the countless annoyances of a busy life. I think it was Plato. I don't think it was Plato. I think it was someone else. Yeah, the barrel guy would openly jork it when people were shopping for groceries and stuff. Damn. Huh. Mad lad. What the fuck? That's crazy. If you're a Stoic, do not jerk off in public. That's not cool. It's instructive to compare the Meditations with another famous book, The Imitation of Christ. There is the same idea of self-control in both. It should be a man's task, says the Imitation, to overcome himself and every day to be stronger than himself. In withstanding of the passions standeth very peace of heart. Let us set the axe to the roots, that we, being purged of our passions, may have a peaceable mind. To this end there must be a continual self-examination. If thou may not continually gather thyself together, namely sometimes do it, at least once a day, the morning or the evening. In the morning purpose, in the evening discuss the manner, what thou hast been this day, in word, work, and thought. But while the Roman's temper is of a modest self-reliance, the Christian aims at a more passive mood, humbleness and meekness, and reliance on the presence and personal friendship of God. The Roman scrutinizes his fault with severity, but without the self-contempt which makes the Christian vile in his own sight. Are all the quotes coming from Imitation here? Because, like, some of them don't have, like, the attributions or so. It says who? Try and stop. Chat, no! Chat, no! Get bonged, chat, look! Get bonged. Alright, The Christian, like the Roman, bids study to withdraw thine heart from the love of things visible, but it is not the busy life of duty he has in mind so much as the contempt of all worldly things, and the cutting away of all lower delectations. Both rate men's praise or blame at their real worthlessness. Let not thy peace, says the Christian, be in the mouths of men, but it is to God's censure the Christian appeals, the Roman to his own soul. The petty annoyances of injustice or unkindness are looked on by each with the same magnanimity. Magnanimity? Alas, I need a Subway Surfer to be on the corner, maybe a Minecraft article. I have to download that. I don't have that to hand. I know Houdini does. I know Houdini has, like, a Subway Surfer routine. Does it help your learning? If you have, like, separate tab, you're welcome to pull up Subway Surfers. I'm not judging you. If it helps your understanding. Diogenes of Sinope was famously approached by Alexander the Great because he heard how he lived and didn't believe anyone. He then said, I'll grant you one wish. He simply asked him to take 2 steps to the left, you're blocking my sun. Oh yeah, that was it, yeah. Based. Have we done any learning? We've learnt about the life and times of Marcus Aurelius. I think we're kind of close to... Oh, good God. Okay. Right. We've still got... Okay, so I think we're on, like, the part of the introduction where they like to compare it to something else, and they do, like, literary comparison, if you will. You can just pull up a video on YouTube, pull the tab, make it be on the window, crop the capture by holding it with Alt. I don't wanna... Don't wanna. Done. where were we? Okay, right. The petty annoyances of injustice, magnanimity, right. Why doth a little thing said or done against thee make thee sorry? It is no new thing, it is not the first, nor shall it be the last. If thou live long, at best suffer patiently. If thou canst not suffer joyously. The Christian should sorrow more for other men's malice than for our own wrongs, but the Roman is inclined to wash his hands of the offender. Study to be patient in suffering and bearing other men's defaults and all manner infirmities, say the Christian. But the Roman would never have thought to add, if all men were perfect, what had we then to suffer of other men for God? The virtue of suffering in itself is an ideal which does not meet us in the Meditations. Both alike realise that man is one of a great community. No man is sufficient to himself, says the Christian. We must bear together, help together, comfort together. But while he sees a chief importance in zeal, in exalted emotion that is, and avoidance of lukewarmness, the Roman thought mainly of the duty to be done, as well as might be, and less of the feeling which should go with the doing of it. To the saint as to the emperor, the world is a poor thing at best. Verily it is a misery to live upon this earth, says the Christian. Few and evil are the days of man's life, which passeth away suddenly as the shadow. Honestly, mood. I'm a 9:20 more gym soon. Nice. No lies, what if you skip this part and go to the real meditations? Maybe? Because, like, I mostly wanted to read the introduction for effectively the, just a brief background on who Marcus Aurelius was. But this part is effectively, like, you know, not discrediting it, but it is pretty much, like, the literary analysis, if you will. So, like, if I was, say, writing a dissertation or something, I would say, okay, yeah, I'm doing my citations, this, right. So if I was to cite the analysis done there, I would be quoting these guys also, or like meditations, but it's effectively being like, okay, here's the philosophy of Stoicism, how about we compare it to another, you know, thing, and then they've been like, okay, Christianity, yeah, take me back to uni, yeah. I'm gonna quickly grab something before we start. I have, you know when, like, you dribble in your sleep and you get, like, a sore on the side of your mouth, but it's not a cold sore, it's like you've just dribbled in your sleep and now you've got a scab. I've got one of them. It's driving me insane, it just doesn't go away. Goddamn references, yeah. So, yeah, like, I see the point, yeah, it's, you know. Again, no, it's the same one, it's just not gone away. Because it's so hard. I might have to go to the doctor about it. I might have to say, like, do you have any, like, medicine or something? Like a cream I can put on it, an ointment. Elias J. Dribbler. Yeah, I do dribble in my sleep a lot. It's actually a problem. I don't know why. I feel like I never used to, and now I dribble all the time. Like a mouth sore. Sort of, yeah. Like, specifically caused by, like, when you're asleep and you dribble in your sleep. And I guess just, it clogs up your pores. Oh, okay. One more push-up, and then we read the book. Okay, right. There we go. God, my body is going... Oh, we have to do it again. Fuck you, fella. Alright. See? Have you got that out of your system? Fucking beefy. Wait, were those all push-ups? I need to make sure. Push up, push up, push up. Okay, right. Third time's a charm. 3. There we go. Before we actually start the book. There we go. Get it out your system. Okay. God, I'm gonna be ripped. What I do to entertain you guys. Okay. His first book concerning himself. So we'll skip past the introduction because at this point, it's mostly just literary analysis. Yes. Nothing wrong with it, but like, it's more just it's supplementary. It's not necessarily like key context or anything. Dig. Little fella gets like a trauma response. His first book concerning himself, where Antonius recordeth what and of whom, whether parents, friends, or masters, by their good examples or good advice and counsel, he had learned, divided into numbers or sections. Antonius, book 6, number 10. Oh god, I can't remember what L is. Whensoever thou wilt rejoice thyself, think and meditate upon those good parts and especial gifts, which thou hast observed in any of them that live with thee, an industry in one, in another modesty, in another bountifulness, in another some other thing. For nothing can so much rejoice thee as the resemblances and parallels of several virtues, eminent in the dispositions of them that live with thee, especially when all at once, as it were, they represent themselves unto thee. See there therefore that thou hast always in them a readiness. This is so interesting because compared to like the rest of the text in the book, that's probably the most like complex language. Like, you know, old like I guess 17th, 18th century like English with thou, thine, there, you know, thou, thine, yeah, the first book. 1. Of my grandfather Verus, I have learned to be gentle and meek, and to refrain from all anger and passion. From the fame and memory of him that begot me, I have learned both shamefastness and manlike behaviour. Of my mother, I have learned to be religious and bountiful, and to forbear, not only to do, but to intend any evil, to content myself with a spare diet. I wonder if that's literal. I wonder if that's like literal spare diet. And to fight all such excess as is incidental to great wealth. Of my great-grandfather, both to frequent public schools and auditories, and to get me good and able teachers at home, and that I ought not to think much, if upon such occasions I were at excessive charges. So, yeah, so effectively a lot of this chapter is him, basically, okay, so if we say modern practices, this would effectively be his gratitude journal. So he's going through the people that he knows and being like, I'm grateful for this person for these reasons. And then also, I guess the idea is that like, for the Stoic, or, you know, aspiring Stoic, it's the values that he's taken from these people that can be applied to Stoic philosophy. Yes. 2. Of him that brought me up, not to be fondly addicted to either of these two great factions of the coursers in the circus, so the entertainment of the time, called Prasini and Venetti, nor in the amphitheatre partially to favour any of the gladiators or fencers, as either of the Parmulari or the Secutors. Moreover, to endure labour, not to need many things, when I have anything to do it myself rather than by others. Not to meddle with many businesses, and not easily to admit of any slander. Introduction, exaggerated and complicated words. Marcus Aurelius, simple. Yes! I'm trying to remember where he says it, but there is a part in this chapter where he does describe his use of language, and he does say that he uses simple language. Actually, yes! Right, here we go. Okay. 3. Of Diogenetus, not to busy myself about vain things, and not easily to believe those things, which are commonly spoken, by such as take upon them to work wonders, and by sorcerers, or prestidigitators. What is that word? Hello, Kiwi! And imposters. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Prestidigitators. That is a tough word. Prestidigitators. Prestidigitators. Sounds like a D&D spell. Yes, it does, doesn't it? Prestidigitation. And imposters, concerning the power of charms, and their driving out of demons or evil spirits and the like. Not to keep quails for the game, not to be mad after such things, not to be offended with other men's liberty of speech, and to apply myself unto philosophy. Him also I must thank, that ever I heard first of Bacchius, then Tandasis and Marcianus, and that I did write dialogues in my youth, and that I took liking to the philosopher's little couch and skins, and such other things, which by the Grecian discipline are proper to those who profess philosophy. So effectively, I guess. Oh, hello, Blow Chips. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. To Rusticus, I am beholding. This is 4. This is no follow-up, and you're making me do push-ups mid-read. Okay. At a certain point, I may have to like fully rest my arms. Big one, trying to get scores. It helps me remember. Look, prestidigity. I remembered. Hello there. 4. To Rusticus, I am beholding, as I first entered into the conceit that my life wanted some redress and cure, and then that I did not fall into the ambition of ordinary sophists, either to write tracts concerning the common theorems, or to exhort men unto virtue, and the study of philosophy by public orations, and also that I never by way of ostentation did affect to show myself an active able man for any kind of bodily exercises. So he didn't exercise? So he wasn't like a... So he wasn't into exercise? Right, yes, okay, right. And that I gave over the study of rhetoric and poetry, and of elegant neat language. So, wait. So, okay, I'm trying to understand this part, because it feels like he's saying that he didn't exercise, but also that he didn't study rhetoric? It feels like he did, though. It feels like it's like he didn't show himself to exercise and did study rhetoric and poetry. And that I gave over this... No, it sounds like gave over sounds like give up. The English translation sucks. Latin sounds cooler. Interesting. I don't know Latin. I mean, okay, also, I do have a second version here. I have a physical copy, so I can probably track... I could probably read a different translation and see what the different translation gives. So this is Rusticus. So from Rusticus, to grasp the idea of wanting correction and treatment for my character, not to be diverted into a taste for rhetoric. Oh, not! Right. So not writing up my own speculations, delivering my own little moral sermons, or presenting a glorified picture of the ascetic or the philanthropist, to keep clear of speechifying okay, yes. So he didn't devote himself to the like study of rhetoric and poetry, or like, you know, fully commit his time to that. The first ever roulette of the stream always takes a bit of time to go through, and I always forget the detail. In other words, I spin around the 5 stages of grief in every stream. Okay, so I did not used to walk about the house in my long robe, nor to do any such things. Moreover, I learned of him to write letters without any affectation or curiosity, such as that was, which by him was written to my mother from Sinuessa, and to be easy and ready to be reconciled, and well pleased again with them that had offended me, as soon as any of them would be content to seek unto me again, to read with diligence, not to rest satisfied with a light and superficial knowledge, nor quickly to assent to things commonly spoken of, whom also I must thank that ever I lighted upon Epictetus his hypomemata, or moral commentaries, as common factions, which also he gave me of his own. Right, yeah. Do you remember the words if you read them aloud? It depends, right? I tend to read, like, silently, like most people do, unless, like, you know, you struggle with that. And I think, like, when I'm streaming, I don't really like the idea of, like, reading quietly. If I'm streaming, it's like, I want, like, you know, chat to be able to follow, so it's like, I don't mind reading aloud. And, like, sometimes it helps. It helps, like, as well if I don't understand something mid, like, vocal reading, to go back over it and then be like, okay, what didn't I get? This reminds me of the book Natural History, which was the first ever encyclopedia where one guy just kind of wrote whatever was on his mind. Huh. True man Zubi Maker do exercise. What's this about? I know that Marcus Aurelius is the guy from the movie Gladiator. So yeah, if you missed the start of the stream, so effectively, if you don't know Marcus Aurelius, he's one of the Stoic philosophers, and and he and Meditations was effectively his diary, so he didn't intend this to be published, and it was him effectively comforting himself with his own philosophies. Yes, it's about a Roman emperor who ranted about things, I think. yeah, good summary. Yeah, I think in my translation, this particular paragraph makes a lot more sense. Who's my translation by? My translation is... I got the hardback, the really fancy little hardback. This is translated and with notes by Martin Hammond, with an introduction by Diskin Clay, Penguin edition. So... I'm trying to figure out if there's a way. Maybe if we somehow learn to do hand cam streams or something, maybe I'll be able to figure out, like, reading this version. Because I can keep going, at least for this stream, but, like, this translation is a little bit hard to understand. Especially since, like, this version that I have in front of me is a little bit easier to understand. In regards to just the way it's written and stuff. Yeah, okay. Learning some things. I'm currently occupied reading Victorian novels, so I haven't finished Dorian Gray. Yes, I think I started reading Dorian Gray and I never finished it, but I really wanted to finish it. It looks interesting. Okay, 5. For Apollonius, true liberty and unvariable steadfastness, and not to regard anything at all, though never so little, but right in reason. And always, whether in the sharpest pains or after the loss of a child or in long diseases, to still be the same man, who also was a present and visible example unto me, that it was possible for the same man to be both vehement and remiss, a man not subject to be vexed and offended with the incapacity of his scholars and auditors in his lectures and expositions, and a true pattern of a man who, of all his good gifts and faculties, least esteemed in himself, that his excellent skill and ability to teach and persuade others the common theorems and maxims of the Stoic philosophy. Of him also I learned how to receive favours and kindness, as commonly they are accounted, from friends, so that I might not become obnoxious unto them, for them, no more yielding upon occasion, than in right I ought, and yet so that I should not pass them neither, as an unsensible and unthankful man. Oh yeah, I'm just typing out that survivor speech title, by the way. The I in roulette was a capital I. God, you've done 4. Wow. Yeah, right. I am encountering an issue with this stream now, which is this translation is really tough. This is not a kind translation. This is a fucking winded translation. Like, especially since, like, the whole idea is that he writes simply, and this translation is not conveying that. Which makes it really hard to understand, like, what he's saying here. Okay, wait, how much have we got until book 2? Because, okay, so Sextus. Oh, okay, we've not got a lot. Do you like these types of books? Admittedly, I, haven't read a lot of non-fiction, if you will. I tend to read fiction, and I think it's just recently I've been very curious about reading, particularly, like, Stoic stuff, but generally, like, I guess, philosophy and things, non-fiction. Because, I don't know, I think, like, maybe I'm a little bit burnt out on fiction a bit. Fiction over non-fiction. Oh, yeah. Like, I love fiction, but, I think I just need a good fiction book, you know? A good fiction book that really just catches me. Because I think lately, I've not had that. I've not had a book that's, like, really gripped me. And to lightly discuss on current affairs also, I read Neverwhere kind of recently, finished it, and I was like, wow, that was a great book. And then literally seconds after finishing it, I learned about Neil Gaiman. I'm not okay. Like, I've literally had so many fucking people that I've, you know, enjoyed as creators or whatever get cancelled for cancelled or just, you know, ranging from severity from like mild to like absolutely horrible. And it's like, I'm so fucking burnt out at this point. Like, the Neil Gaiman shit was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done. Literally seconds after finishing. Seconds. Like, wow, I loved this book. And then it was like, yeah. Well, at this point, I just assume that every author artist has a couple of screws loose. Yeah, like, I think that's kind of where I'm at this point. It's just that question of like, you know, is it I guess the case of, are they, say, dead also? Like, where is, I guess it's the ethical contrary of like, are they still alive? Am I giving money towards something that like could be actively harmful? That's my worry, you know? You need to read Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes, Death of the Author, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, I think I do quite ascribe to Death of the Author. Particularly when it comes to like literary analysis also. Because, again, I think I said earlier about like reading a book with, you know, disability criticism in mind and being like, especially like with an autistic lens also, and being like, is this like a autistic perspective also? And then like the original author might be like, what the fuck are you on about? The whole predicament is literally that Buzz Lightyear meme where there's a shelf full of him. Also incorrect apostrophe detective argument about it. No, don't be nice. Okay. Let's get through this this chapter, because we'll do our best to understand it. This translation I'm not a big fan of. To be fair, English isn't my native language. That's fair. I mean, even as someone with English as their native language, I'm like, this is a very wordy, winded translation. I think especially because the book does, like, he does say that he uses simple language, and this is not simple language. Might have been for the time it was written. Okay, wait, we're on 6. If we're on 6. Release date? 2001? Really? That's a really complicated translation for 2001. I would have said that was 1970. The way that was written, I'll be like 1970 or so. Like, that's a translation from the 1970s. Earlier even. 1800s. Yeah, that's a... Yeah. If you don't want to support certain authors, I recommend piracy. Yeah, I guess you're right. I literally taught myself to get really good at apostrophes so that I could correct myself if people's spelling. Although I still haven't figured out capitals. I think capitals, it's like beginning of a sentence, a name, and like I. Also, I really like that you used the wrong capital there. You used lowercase capital for I. Alright, okay. Let's do our best. Let's do our best to understand this. Of Sextus, mildness and the pattern of a family governed with paternal affection, and a purpose to live according to nature, to be grave without affectation, to observe carefully the several dispositions of my friends, not to be offended with idiots, nor unseasonably to set upon those that are carried with the vulgar opinions, with the theorems and tenets of philosophers. His conversation being an example how a man might accommodate himself to all men and companies, so that through his company was sweeter and more pleasing than any flatterer's cogging and fawning. Yet was it at the same time most respected and reverenced, who also had a proper happiness and faculty, rationally and methodically, to find out, and set in order all necessary determinations and instructions for a man's life. A man without ever the least appearance of anger or any other passion. Able at the same time most exactly to observe the stoic apatheia, or unpassionateness. Yes, the idea of like the stoic detachment, if you will. Oh, no, not using it right now. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, fair. And yet to be most tender-hearted, ever of good credit, and yet almost without any noise or rumour, very learned, and yet making little show. Yeah, okay, right. Rise reference spelling with a V. Reverenced. Reverenced is a different word to referenced. It's effectively reverence, which is to be like, so people will revere a god. So it's effectively like a higher form of, say, respected. Like revered is like an authority level, if you will. Yeah. I don't know all words, but there's like a good few where if people ask like, what's that word? I can probably be like, okay, yeah, I think I know. From Alexander the Grammarian, to be unreprovable myself, and not reproachfully to reprehend any man for a barbarism, or a solecism, or any false pronunciation. So as we were talking about spelling, I guess that probably adds up there. But dexterously by way of answer, or testimony, or confirmation of the same matter, taking no notice of the word, to utter it as it should have been spoken, or by some other such close and indirect admonition, handsomely and civilly to tell him of it. So I think like correcting spelling also is the sort of discussion there. Yeah, grammarian, so definitely about like language, yes. And then with the sextus part, effectively saying like a little look into the disposition of like the distance, and then but like also that's the key thing, right? Because I think the modern understanding of stoicism is very much like detached, like unfeeling, but like here he's sort of saying like unpassionateness and yet to be most tender-hearted. That's like, you know, it feels like contradictory, but it's like an unpassionateness isn't the same thing as like unfeeling. It's more like to, I guess, to not show excess feeling, or like to, especially towards like anger and to be easily swayed by emotion. I think it's like to still have, you know, kind emotion, to still feel feel kindly, but then also to not let feeling overwhelm, if you will. Off fronto, to how much envy and fraud and hypocrisy the state of a tyrannous king is subject unto, and how they who are commonly called nobly born are in some sort of incapable or void of natural affection. So I guess recognising the state of being a monarch, and like how monarchs can be quite corrupt, if you will. Of Alexander the Platonic, not often nor without great necessity to say, or to write to any man in a letter, I am not at leisure, nor in this manner still to put off those duties, which we owe to our friends and acquaintances, to every one in his kind, under pretence of urgent affairs. I know in my translation, the way it said this was like to say I'm too busy, so effectively to always make time for people, if you will. I remembered this one, so it's like it's to make time for people. Of Catulus, not to contemn any friend's expostulation, though unjust, but to strive to reduce him to his former disposition. Freely and heartily to speak well of all my masters upon any occasion, as it is reported of Domitius and Aphenodotus, and to love my children with true affection. So effectively, you know, strive to reduce him to his former disposition. I guess calm down a friend. You know, not to dissuade him, but to, you know, calm him down. Compliment masters. So gratitude as we were saying, and love my children. Yes, love your kids. Be a good parent. Yes. From my brother Severus, I just realised that if I make a spelling mistake, I can just kill myself and remove the evidence. Since if you get timed out, your chat messages get removed from the VOD. True. But they stay in the visual VOD. They're there. I can just grab through the VOD and see it there. From my brother Severus, to be kind and loving to all of them of my house and family. No, you can't. Yeah, look, there. Yeah, look, there, on my left. I can see your message. So you read a lot. I think, like, it depends. I have, like, times where I read a lot, and then there's... no. Yeah, it depends on, like, my mood and my focus. So I think recently I've not been reading as much. I've been trying to read a bit more, but then, like, I guess life happened, and I don't know, my phone gets very addicting sometimes. But I generally read quite a lot, or at least, like, especially if something catches my eye and I get really into it, I can make time for reading. I read a lot of manga, I say, like, generally, I kind of keep up with a lot of manga, but in terms of fiction, like, I do enjoy reading. If anything, I want to read more. It's just bringing myself to focus with all the goings-ons in life, you know. Minimizing distraction, if you will, yes. From my brother Severus, to be kind and loving to all of them of my house and family, by whom also I came to the knowledge of Thracia and Helvidius, and Cato and Dio and Brutus. He it was also that did put me in the first conceit and desire of an equal commonwealth, administered by justice and equality, and of a kingdom wherein should be regarded nothing more than the good and welfare of the subjects. Of him also to observe a constant tenure, not interrupted with any other case and distractions, in the study and esteem of philosophy, to be bountiful and liberal in the largest measure, always to hope the best, and to be confident that my friends love me, in whom I moreover observed open dealing towards those whom he reproved at any time, and that his friends might without all doubt or much observation know what he would, or would not, so open and plain was he. That was quite a tough one. That was quite a tough one. Let me go to my translation and try and pick that one apart. So this was Severus. Severus, yes. My translation might be a little bit clearer. So Severus. From Severus, love of family, love of truth, love of justice. To have come by his help to understand Thracia, Helvidius, Cato, Dio, Brutus. To have conceived the idea of a balanced constitution, a commonwealth based on equality and freedom of speech, and of a monarchy which values above all the liberty of the subject, from him to a constant and vigorous respect for philosophy, beneficence, unstinted generosity, optimism, his confidence in the affection of his friends, his frankness with those who met with his censure, and open likes and dislikes, so that his friends did not need to guess at his wishes. Right. So, yeah, I genuinely feel like this translation is way too confusing. I read a lot, but usually reread stuff, and it takes a bit more effort to start something new. That's fair. I struggle with rereading, personally. I feel like it really depends on the book, but generally, if I've already read a book, I really struggle to reread it, because it's like, I know what's going on. Same with films. Like, actually, less so with films, and like games and so. Like, okay. If I had to rank, I would say films I can, like, rewatch. Films I can rewatch. Films I can rewatch. Shows, maybe. Games, probably less. And then books. Actually, books over games. Books over games, yes. It totally depends. Also, while I was dead, I devised a scheme to make people think I'm really lucky. Make an alt account called Elias J. Dodger, with the L being an uppercase. 2. Type roulette with the L being... Hello, Asa, how you doing? Type roulette with the L being an uppercase. 3. Have an alt account copy and paste out the survived message. 4. Make people think you're luckier than you are. That's evil! That's evil! You're just gonna... What's it? Like, imposter account me? Impersonate me? What the hell? Order. Oh, thank you, Asa. Thank you. What the? I mean, there's no way for it to count from the broadcaster type. Like, I try my best. True. I could totally shoot a arrow in that scheme and just ban the account. Ban it for scamming and impersonation. Through the highest form of flattery. Hi. Love it. I love the throwing stuff. I think that's so funny. That's cheating. No, it's not. It's good moderation. You're supposed to sit and watch me cheat. No, I'm really not. Okay. From Claudius Maximus. In all things to endeavour to have power of myself, and in nothing to be carried about. So again, like the idea of like the not to be too affected by life, I guess. Like to have control of the self, yes. To be cheerful and courageous in all sudden chances and accidents, as in sickness. Alright, so like, again, keeping a good disposition. To love mildness and moderation and gravity. Yes, pretty makes sense. And to do my business, whatsoever it be, thoroughly, and without querulousness. What a weird word that is. Man, Bacon needs to host another spelling bee, because maybe I'll get better just by reading this. Whatsoever he said, all men believed him that as he spake. So he thought, and whatsoever he did, that he did it with a good intent. His manner was never to wonder at anything, never to be in haste, and yet never slow, nor to be perplexed or dejected, or at any time unseemly or excessively to laugh. Like, this is the thing. This is probably like the one thing I'd probably like disagree on with Stoicism, is like this idea of like you can't show excess good emotion. You know, it's like, if me personally, I believe like say like good laughter, good hearty laughter. That's like healing to the soul, you know? Like, I think especially where, you know, life can... and even like a good cry. Gonna be honest, even a good cry. I think a good necessary cry can be like actually healing, you know? I think there's the times where crying and you cry over something and it's just like, oh, I feel like shit. But then there's other times where you cry and it's like, I feel better, you know? Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of disagree with Stoicism on that lens. Because I would say, like, there's parts of, like, excess emotion also that I guess make people feel better. That make, like, people feel better and make you feel better. And I think those are important to consider. Also, for some reason, I cannot think of words correctly, specifically when watching your streams. I cannot forget the time I meant to say Rat Shaker and Deadass wrote Shat Raker. New game, sequel just dropped, the Shat Raker. So, not to be angry or suspicious, but ever ready to do good and to forgive and to speak truth. Yeah, totally fine. And all this as one that seems rather of himself to have been straight and right than ever to have been rectified or redressed. Neither was there any man that ever thought himself undervalued by him, or that could find in his heart to think himself a better man than he. He would also be very pleasant and gracious. Yeah, like, I wonder if, okay, like, what's the words? Like, I wonder if, like, I guess Greek, Roman times, if they did have, like, particular thoughts surrounding, I guess, laughter also. And just generally, like, the show of good emotion, happy emotions also, you know? Like, I wonder if it was maybe a cultural thing. Like, you know, it's definitely a Stoic thing, but I wonder if it was, like, a cultural thing regarding, like, the ways one should compose themselves in, say, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, that might differ from the modern day, also, you know? Like, I wonder if some of this stems from, say, a cultural understanding of how people should behave. And particularly, I guess a lot of this as well is, this is someone who had power, he had authority, so I think that in itself does inform the ways that he feels he should compose himself, you know? As an adult as well, so like, I wonder if him as a child would have been different to him as an adult also, yes. In my father I observed his meekness, his constancy without wavering in those things, which after a due examination and deliberation he had determined, how free from all vanity he carried himself in matter of honour and dignity, as they are esteemed, his laboriousness and assiduity, his readiness to hear any man that had aught to say tending to any common good, how generally and impartially he would give every man his due, His skill and knowledge, when rigour or extremity, or when remissness or moderation was in season. How he did abstain from all unchaste love of youths. His moderate condescending to other men's occasion as an ordinary man, neither absolutely requiring of his friends that they should wait upon him as ordinary meals, nor that they should of necessity accompany him in his journeys. And that whensoever any business upon such some necessary occasion was to be put off or omitted before it could be ended, he was ever found when he went about it again, the same man that he was before, his accurate examination of things in consultations, and patient hearing of others. He would not hastily give others the search of the matter, as one easily to be satisfied with sudden notions and apprehensions. His care to preserve his friends, how neither at any time he would carry himself towards them with disdainful neglect, and grow weary of them, nor yet at any time be madly fond of them. So, but this is the thing, right? It also does, like, I guess the idea is very much, like, moderation, like, control, you know? But, like, I think the issue there, at least something that me personally, I have, like, a, you know, I guess, reluctance towards, is the idea of that moderation also applies to positive emotion, to things that make you feel good, like, you know, again, like laughter and stuff like that. Like, it feels almost a bit too repressive to an extent, in a way that, you know, can kind of lean into ideas of, like, I guess a toxic sort of, I guess, grey rocking? Like, because I can see, how's the way to describe this? Like, I can see where the ideas of, like, toxic masculinity can kind of come into play. But, you know, like, I guess, you know, anyone could probably exhibit the same ideas. But, like, I guess, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Yeah, because it's interesting. It's interesting, the idea of, like, I can agree with the idea of, like, moderation, and I agree with the idea of, like, to be in control of oneself, but to limit the good feelings, to limit things like laughter, to limit things like, you know, expressions of, like, fondness also for people, at a certain point it feels a little bit, like, restrictive, almost, you know? Interesting. His contented mind in all things, his cheerful countenance, his care to foresee things afar off, and to take order for the least, without any noise or clamour. Moreover, how all acclamations and flattery were repressed by him. How carefully he observed all things necessary to the government, and kept an account of the common expenses, and how patiently he did abide that he was reprehended by some for this his strict and rigid kind of dealing. How he was neither a superstitious worshipper of the gods, nor an ambitious pleaser of men, or studious of popular applause, but sober in all things, and everywhere observant of that which was fitting, no affecter of novelties, in those things which conducted to his ease and convenience. Wait, yes, the kill message gives you a star emoji tease. Tiny little skull! Plenty whereof his fortune did afford him, without pride and bragging, yet with all freedom and liberty, so that as he did freely enjoy them without any anxiety or affection where they were present, so when absent he found no want of them, moreover that he was never commended by any man, as either a learned acute man, or an obsequious, this word always trips me up, obsequious, officious man, or a fine orator, but as a ripe, mature man, a perfect sound man, one that could not endure to be flattered, able to govern both himself and others. Moreover, how much he did honour all true philosophers, without upbraiding those that were not so. His sociableness, his gracious and delightful conversation, but never unto satiety. His care of his body within bounds and measure, not as one that desired to live long, or over studious. Oh, hello. Oh god. Okay. Give me 1 second. Ow. It's really funny that you threw the Daily Yellow Because right before that, I fully just got like, you know where you get like a cluster headache? Also, like, where you get a headache that's like just over your eye? Like my right eye? Like my right eye and then my temple. The last time I knocked Elias out, kinda! Ah, that's weird. I don't know if that's like a screen thing, or if that's like a... Do I have to go to bed? I don't know what that was. Does it still hurt? I don't know. Oh. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought you had a robotic control boxing glove. Am I okay? Okay. Genuinely though, I hate the idea of having like an ailment during a stream because I'm so fucking shit with like interoception shit. Like the whole like being able to tell your body signals. I can like tell when I'm hungry and tell when like, you know, I need to go to the toilet or whatever. Toilet's fine, whatever. But like, say like when I'm hungry, I can only tell when I'm hungry, when I'm starving. It's like I'm either fine or I'm starving. There's no in between. No in between. So like, having an ailment, also like a headache or something, it's like, is it a headache or do I need to like stop? Take a quick screen break. I've had those and they get worse when you fight them. True. Like, my work is super screen heavy as well. I'm just closing my eyes for a second. Like, yeah, my work is super screen heavy. And like, also, you know, I do have a screen problem with like my phone. I've been trying to use like apps to try not to use it as much. Results vary. But like, yeah, I do use screens a lot. No wonder I have glasses. Thank God you don't have a nut allergy. Am I dying or is it a cough? True, true. Quick, while their eyes are closed, Robin. No! No, I have a cat here. The cat's gonna scratch you. It's gonna go, meow. Hello, cat, how are you doing? Oh, she's adjusting us. Oh, bless her. Oh, okay. I think I'm feeling a little better. I think so. I'll keep an eye on that. If that, like, comes back up again, then I might have to consider, like... Yeah, it's getting late anyway, so I should, like... Once this finishes, I will probably go bed. Effectively, I was like, I know I've got at least 2 things coming up. Okay, 2 things coming up this week that I won't be able to stream for, and then on Wednesday, I think I'll be doing like an off collab. So I think I'll be playing Guilty Gear with K-Siri, but that won't be streamed because they're new to the game, and I think they don't really like streaming when they're new to something. So that probably won't be streamed. And like, so I was like, I want to stream where I can. Quote from Vsauce video I watched. I discovered a life hack. If you want to take a picture of something but don't have a phone, blindfold yourself for 30 minutes, then stare at the thing you want to take a picture of for the next 3 minutes. Then excite your Interactive MC, by the way, in a few minutes. Added some new toys. Light plug. Yeah, I mean, okay, admittedly, I was going through my rules and stuff, because I wanted to add a little one regarding fighting games of just, like, if it's not a... Just based on, like, things. It's like, unless I specify that it's, like, open lobby, like, don't ask if it's open lobby, and don't ask for, like, a fight, because I personally don't really like that. Like, I'm personally a bit more comfortable just doing random onlines, and... Especially when it's like collabs. Yeah, it's like, if it's mid collab, it's like, no, I'm playing with people. But yes, but yeah, I was gonna add one about self-promotion, because I remember when that one person came in and was like, hey, do you need stream assets? And I'm like, no, that's a ban. I don't know, I guess if it's like, if it's like other streamers, it's like, maybe. But yeah. Sorry, that's just me yapping a bit. But, yeah, I'll probably raid out and see you, buddy. I'm curious about your new toys. How's Minecraft? The open Robbie law is so valid. Yeah, because me personally, like, I maybe it's a little bit of the social anxiety that creeps up there. I'm just like a little bit like, and like, and I don't know. I prefer online randoms than doing open lobby. Maybe someday I'll do open lobby, but not right now. I don't think I'm in a position right now to. I only play AI Minecraft because it's 2 for free FPS. Stream asset bots get the lead, yeah. No, don't ban me, no. No, we're not banning you. You're also my mod, so. Alright, I think I feel a little better. I'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully I can get to the end of the chapter. And it hopefully, I would still like to read this. Either I read it on my own time, or I find a way to read it that has a better translation, because I'm not a big fan of this translation. It's a bit too dense in a way that I don't really like. Okay. Moreover, how much he, yeah, I think we're here. Moreover, how he did honour all true philosophers without upbraiding those that were not so. His sociableness, his graciousness, his gracious and delightful conversation, but never under satiety. His care of his body within bounds and measure, not as one that desired to live long, or over-studious of neatness and elegancy, and yet not as one that did not regard it, so that through his own care and providence, he seldom needed any inward physic, or outward applications. But especially how ingeniously he would yield to any that he had obtained any peculiar... But especially how ingeniously he would yield to any that had obtained any peculiar faculty, as either eloquence, or the knowledge of the laws, or of ancient customs, or the like. And how he concurred with them in his best care and endeavour that every one of them might in his kind, for that wherein he excelled, be regarded and esteemed. And although he did all things carefully after the ancient customs of his forefathers, yet even of this was he not desirous that men should take notice, that he did imitate ancient customs. Again, how he was not easily moved and tossed up and down, but loved to be constant, both in the same places and businesses. And how after his great fits of headache, he would return. Very funny reading this after I just had a headache, like cluster or so. Speedrun reading. Yeah, this is a very dense paragraph. Very dense. How he was not easily moved and tossed up and down, but loved to be constant, both in the same places and businesses. And how after his great fits of headache, he would return fresh and vigorous to his wonted affairs. Again, that secrets he neither had many, nor often, and such only as concerned public matters. His discretion and moderation in exhibiting of the public sights and shows for the pleasure and pastime of the people, in public buildings, congeries, and the like. In all these things, having respect unto men only as men, and to the equity of the things themselves, and not unto the glory that might follow. Never want to use the baths at unseasonable hours, no builder, never curious or solicitous either about his meat or about the workmanship, or colour of his clothes, or about anything that belonged to external beauty. In all his conversation, far from all inhumanity, all boldness and incivility, all greediness and impetuosity, never doing anything with such earnestness and intention that a man could say of him that he did sweat about it, but contrariwise, all things distinctly, as at leisure, without trouble, orderly, soundly, and agreeably. A man might have applied that to him, which is recorded of Socrates, that he knew how to want, and to enjoy those things, in the want whereof most men show themselves weak, and in the fruition intemperate, but to hold out firm and constant, and to keep within the compass of true moderation and sobriety in either estate, is proper to a man who have a perfect and invincible soul, such as he showed himself in the sickness of Maximus. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, come on, we can do this. Got another dense one. Got the gods. The guy really said never saw him in the sauna after dark. Never saw him have a light bath. His hair couldn't take it. His hair couldn't take that abuse. Okay. From the gods I received that I had... oh wait, you can't read that. There you go. From the gods I received that I had good grandfathers and parents, a good sister, good masters, good domestics, loving kinsmen, almost all that I have, and that I never through haste and rashness transgressed against any of them,
notwithstanding that my disposition was such, and that such a thing, if occasion had been, might very well have been committed by me, but that it was the mercy of the gods to prevent such a concurring of matters and occasions, as might make me to incur this blame. That I was not long brought up by the concubine of my father, that I preserved the flower of my youth, that I took not upon me to be a man before my time, but rather put it off longer than I needed. So basically he didn't have sex early. Good for him. That I lived under the government of my lord and father, who would take away from me all pride and vainglory, and reduce me to that of conceit and opinion, that it was not impossible for a prince to live in the court without a troop of guards and followers, extraordinary apparel, such and such torches and statues, and other like particulars of state and magnificence. But that a man may reduce and contract himself almost to the state of a private man, and yet for oh, I feel like I've got something on my glasses. I do. Oh, that was very much in my vision. That was very confusing. There we go. Okay, slightly better. There we go. And yet for all that not to become the more base and remiss in those public matters and affairs, wherein power and authority is requisite, that I have had such a brother, whom by his own example might stir me up to think of myself, and by his respect and love delight and please me. That I have got ingenious children, and that they were not born distorted, nor with any other natural deformity. So this is what I was saying, where I was like, yeah, there might be outdated language, because I do know this part, and it was like, you know, I have children, they don't have disability, and it's a bit like, yeah. He's got healthy children, I guess. If we use like more language now that could work, yeah. How prominent was it in breeding back then? I don't know, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not like a classic scholar or anything. That I was no great proficient in the study of rhetoric and poetry and of other faculties, which perchance I might have dwelt upon if I had found myself to go on in them with success. That I did by times prefer those by whom I was brought up to such places and dignities, which it seemed unto me most to desire, and that I did not put them off with hope and expectation, that since that they were but young, I would do the same hereafter. That I ever knew Apollonius and Rusticus and Maximus, that I have had occasion often and effectually to consider and meditate with myself, concerning that life which is according to nature, what the nature and manner of it is, so that as for the gods in such suggestions, helps and inspirations, as might be expected from them, nothing did hinder, but that I might have begun long before to live according to nature, or that even now that I was not yet partaker and in present possession of that life, have been able to hold out so long, that I never had to do with Benedicta and Theodotus. Yea, and afterwards, when I fell into some fits of love, I was soon cured. And having been often displeased with Rusticus, I never did him anything for which afterwards I had occasion to repent. That it being so that my mother was to die young, yet she lived with me all her latter years. That as often as I had purpose to help and secure any that either were poor or falling into some present necessity, I never was answered by my officers that there was not ready money enough to do it, and that I myself never had occasion to require the like secure from any other. That I have such a wife, so obedient, so loving, so ingenious, that I have choice of fit and able men, to whom I might commit the bringing up of my children. That by dreams I have received help, as for other things, so in particular, how I might stay my casting of blood, and cure my dizziness, as that also that happened to thee in Cajeta, and unto Chryses, when he prayed by the seashore. And when I did first apply myself to philosophy, that I did not fall into the hands of some sophists, or spent my time either in reading the manifold volumes of ordinary philosophers, nor in practising myself in the solution of arguments and fallacies, nor dwelt upon the study of the meteors and other natural curiosities. All these things without the assistance of the gods and fortune could not have been. Sometimes the deformity that they speak about can be from having a sister wife. Interesting. Didn't know that. Huh. To this day, royals have ancestral problems. The late queen married her cousin, I think. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I think like, yeah, there's definitely stuff about that. That's interesting. Definitely an interesting thing to maybe look up is like, I guess incest during ancient Rome, you know? Yeah. Okay. In the country of the granua these. Betimes in the morning say to thyself, this day I shalt have to do with an idle curious man, with an unthankful man, a rallier, a crafty false, or an envious man, an unsociable uncharitable man. All these ill qualities have happened unto them, through ignorance of that which is truly good and truly bad. But I that understand the nature of that which is good, that it only is to be desired, and of that which is bad, that is truly odious and shameful. Who know moreover that this transgressor, whosoever he be, is my kinsman, not by the same blood and seed, but by participation of the same reason, and of the same divine particle. So the divine thing that was in the introduction, yes. How can I either be hurt by any of those, since it is not in their power to make me incur anything that is truly reproachful, or angry and ill-affected towards him, whom by nature is so near unto me? For we are all born to be fellow workers, as the feet, the hands, and the eyelids, as the rows of the upper and under teeth. For such therefore to be in opposition is against nature, and what is it to chafe at, and to be averse from, but to be in opposition? Exactly, and that's recent history, so there's a high chance the language, whilst problematic, may not actually be referring to modern disability, but the chance isn't zero. Interesting. I mean, what's the other translation I've got here? Because I do have this physical book version. It is probably... I don't remember seeing this, so where is it? I remember seeing this. Where's it gone? Interesting. I definitely remember seeing this, and now I can't find it. Like something about like my children. Okay, because in here, the closest point for that is that my wife is as she is, so submissive, loving, and unaffected, and that I found no lack of suitable tutors for my children, which is definitely different. It's really interesting. Very different. Very different. Right. Whatsoever I am is either flesh or life, or that which we commonly call the mistress and overruling part of man, reason. Away with thy books, suffer not thy mind any more to be distracted, and carried to and fro, for it will not be. But as even now ready to die, think a little of thy flesh. Blood, bones, and a skin, a pretty piece of knit and twisted work, consisting of nerves, veins, and arteries. Think no more of it than so. And as for thy life, consider what it is, a wind, not one constant wind neither, but every moment of an hour let out and sucked in again. The third is thy ruling part, and here consider. Thou art an old man, suffer not that excellent part to be brought in subjection, and to become slavish. Suffer it not to be drawn up and down with unreasonable and unsociable lusts and motions, as it were with wires and nerves. Suffer it not any more, either to repine at anything now present, or to fear and fly at anything to come, which the destiny have appointed thee. Whatsoever proceeds from the gods immediately, that any man will grant totally depends from their divine providence. As for those things that are commonly said to happen by fortune, even those must be conceived to have dependence from nature, or from that first and general connection, and concatenation of all those things, which more apparently by the divine providence are administered and brought to pass. All things flow from thence, and whatever it is that is both necessary and conducting to the whole, part of which thou art, and whatsoever it is that is requisite and necessary for the preservation of the general, must of necessity for every particular nature be good and behoveful. And as for the whole, it is preserved, as by the perpetual mutation and conversion of the simple elements one into another, so also by the mutation and alteration of things mixed and compounded. Let these things suffice thee, let them always be unto thee, as thy general rule and precepts. As for thy first after books, away with it with all speed, that thou die not murmuring and complaining, but truly meek and well satisfied, and from thy heart thankful unto the gods. Okay, exactly, and that's recent history, so the high trunk. Okay, this is interesting and definitely easier to understand. I mean, this is the thing, I've said throughout this stream that actually, yeah, like, my version of the book has a much nicer translation in terms of just being able to understand, and this is the thing. At a point in this, Aurelius does say, like, he uses simple language, and it doesn't make sense to have a translation that's so long-winded if the whole thing is Aurelius is saying that he uses simple language. Like, as a translator, I feel that that doesn't make sense to use thy language. And this was if I'm correct, this is a translation from like 2001. Granted, I don't know a lick of like Latin, so I couldn't tell you like an accurate translation, but I feel like to say like you use simple language and then use like outdated English also, it's really confusing. As a general reader, it's really confusing. So, okay, but that's book one of this version. Percy, at least not a fan of this version. But you know, you can't win everything. You can't win everything. So, so either I may keep reading this on my own time, with my version that's got a much nicer translation. The Penguin edition, but translated by Martin Hammond. Time to do a Gen Z version. Nah, I mean, God, I remember seeing a Gen Z adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. And this was like still kind of early internet, you know, like where internet culture was still kind of forming, but particularly Gen Z internet culture, still kind of forming, still kind of finding its like feet. Also, I want to say about 2012. This was at the Globe, by the way. This was at the Globe. One of the worst performances I've seen. I did not like it because it was effectively a performance for like kids. Also, it was effectively one to like help kids understand Romeo and Juliet, but the way they did it was by like, oh, you know, they're taking selfies all the time and they're like partying, and it's like it just felt like it was talking down to kids, you know. And I don't like that. I don't like where an adaptation is like Gen Z for the kids. How do you do, fellow kids? Where it's like it talks down to the kids. It makes it sound like the kids don't get it. And like, yeah, there's kids that don't get Shakespeare. That's fine. Shakespeare's tough, but there's ways you can make it understandable that respect the audience. You know. The kind of thing that you'd see in a high school trying to make you say no to drugs. Yes, exactly. It was very much that. How do you like the book? I'm not a fan of this translation. I don't mind continuing reading Meditations, particularly my version of it. If I could figure out hand cams, I'd like to do like a hand cam reading this, but at the same time, there might be some weird stuff about like copyright that means reading a version like this is a little bit weird. Because at least with Project Gutenberg, the books are in the public domain, which means that reading them, you do get like, you know, that's fine. There's no like quandaries there. But then that's the issue with a physical book, because there might still be like copyrights depending on like the translations and stuff. So, I mean, I know it's like super, you know, super unlikely that it would sort of hit me in the ass, but I'm also like, I don't want to risk it. Gen Z though, weird. Like, this is interesting, right? Because yes, I think a lot of people like Gen Z don't, but then like they also, but at the same time they do. Like, I think Book Talk also has really like kind of repopularized reading for young people. Of course, it's mostly been in, say, your romantic fantasy. What's the word? What's the words? There is like a name for that genre. You know, like fantasy particularly, romance also, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually great. Like, if you're reading and you're enjoying it, then like more power to you, really. And very smart, yeah. Books I mentioned, yeah. Personally, I read Court of Thorns and Roses, and I didn't like it. I liked a little bit of like some of the, I guess, the smutty bits, like the tension, if you will. There was one scene in particular I was like, ooh. But then like I kept reading it and I was like, I didn't like it. I think particularly because my main qualm that really threw me off is the girl said she was illiterate, and then she describes all these things with like an extensive understanding of language to describe how beautiful the guy is, and like, oh,
the places and stuff. So it's like, what about you being illiterate? I get it, it's fiction, whatever, but like, it's first person, you know? Like, if you're doing first person, at that point, there needs to be an understanding of like how this character would respond. An illiterate character responding with this like thick grasp of language, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Like, because this is the thing, I've read Flowers for Algernon, which I think was a really good example of like a first person text that understood the let's go to Just Chatting while we're here. There we go. Yeah, Flowers for Algernon I think really understood the first person situation, where like he's writing from this perspective at first of a character who's got a mental disability, and it's like through the use of language, it's like the misspellings and the simple language, and then like he becomes intelligent through the surgery and stuff, and the language gets more you know, the sentence structure becomes more complicated, the language gets more complicated, and then, you know, it hit, you know, I won't spoil Flowers for Algernon, but the use of language there is fucking heartbreaking at a point. The way like the way the language transforms throughout the book, and the way the grammar transforms throughout the book. I thought book talk was a good thing, but there's a lot of aesthetic readers, people who look cool while owning a bunch of books. Yeah, I mean, like at the same time, it's kind of hard to tell who's an aesthetic reader, you know? Like, you can see someone with a book, like, you know, I think anyone who holds a book, you could probably look at them and be like, are they just doing it for the aesthetic, to like look sexy and look literate or whatever? It's hard to tell. So I think generally I like to reserve judgment on that. Simply because, like, you never know. You never know if it's like that's their favourite book that they're holding there, you know? To be fair though, Thorns and Roses, actually being illiterate would be so normal that I was happy where there was a character with a true flaw to success. Yeah. Not just I'm too plain, but everyone's YA flaw. Book ones versus bookworms. One reads, the other hoards. And an e-reader to read all my pirated books. Yeah, I mean, I do have a Kindle also. I prefer physical books, but I do know like carrying them gets tough, and then like, you know, again, sometimes you just can't force yourself to pick up a physical book. So, like, on my Kindle also, I have been reading, I think I, like, paused reading it, so I do need to get back into it. I was reading The Fall by Albert Camus. I believe it's Camus. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I was liking that. I really like how Camus, with that book, does it through the lens of, like, a conversation. That, like, you're effectively part of the narrative. I really liked that. I thought that was really refreshing. I've never seen a book do that. Yeah, but yeah, I think personally with meditations, I might continue this on my own time. But at least this is like, you know, a way to have a reading stream. But like, I think with this book in particular, and this translation, I'm not the biggest fan of it. But I do want to figure out like books that we can read for stream. I'm tempted to reread Gatsby, because I love Gatsby. Fucking love Gatsby to bits. And like, admittedly, finding more books from the 1920s would be a good idea. Actually, let me gander at that. Okay. Discord book club? Yeah, I could do that. Like, you know, a part of the Discord where it's just like book recommendations or something. That'd be cute. Books from 1920s. Because, of course, yeah, Gatsby is going to come up. Do Victorian books. Yeah, we did a Christmas Carol as a charity stream in December. That's on my YouTube channel, the VOD of that. That was really fun. I really enjoyed doing Christmas Carol. Let me think. Victorian books. I've never read, like, Oliver Twist in full, so Oliver Twist, maybe. Oh my god, I was sweating thinking about Mice and Men's going. I've never read Mice and Men. Okay, if I'm correct though, it does have quite racial language, which makes sense for the time, but Twitch won't allow it, so...
That's the best. I guess that's a way I can phrase it. Just like, yeah, the language is outdated. Contextually important, but outdated. And Twitch would not allow that. Agatha Christie! Ooh, Agatha Christie could be fun. I'm currently writing a story where my protagonist is racist. Yeah, I mean, like, if it makes sense for a character, that's fine. I think the issue for me is I'm streaming it on Twitch, so I have to be a bit aware of, like, what will Twitch allow me to read, you know? Agatha Christie could be fun. I really like Agatha Christie. The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. Sherry by Colette. Ulysses. This is the thing. I'm aware of Ulysses from like uni. It's got like very complicated language. It's like very hard. Let's go mystery novels. Yeah, and that could be fun. Like guessing the mystery as well. That could be really fun. The Velveteen Rabbit. Never read that. I'm pretty sure that's like one that a lot of like, yeah, young readers read it a lot. Kane by Jean Toomer. The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arman. The Inimitable Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. Oh yeah, Wodehouse, yeah. A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. Gatsby! Miss Dalloway! Oh, Virginia Woolf! Ooh, I've not read a lot of Virginia Woolf. That could be fun. Technically, we could read The Hobbit. Maybe. Because, right, my thing is I've tried multiple occasions to get into Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit, and I really struggle. I think, like, high fantasy really confuses me. I could do it in, like, anime no problem, but in like, fiction, for some reason, I find high fantasy a really hard genre to approach. They paid him by the word, so he loves his word. Ah, right. I mean, like, that reminds me of Dombey and Sons by Dickens, because it was published as, like, effectively, like, pages in a magazine, right? And Dickens fucking loves his words. Dickens absolutely loves his words. And, like, but this is the thing, right? The best way to describe Dombey and Son is it's, like Coronation Street. The fictional version of Coronation Street. And the physical version of Dombey and Son is fucking massive. It is, like, over 1,000 pages or so. And, like, do I still have it? No, I think I got rid of it after uni. My version was like barely holding together because it's like, it's not meant to be read as a physical tome. It's like meant to be read as a serialized thing, which admittedly could work in the same format as, say, what's the word? The Dracula email thing. Dombey and Son could work in that format because that was how it was originally published. If you do like Dombey and Son published, like, you know, time by time as Dickens published it, you could probably make that digestible. Granted, I don't know how it would work if, like, because I'm pretty sure it ran for a few years. I don't know how it would work if, like, dates overlapped or so. But, yeah. Reading physical Dombey and Son is hard, especially since Dickens loves his language. Yeah, exactly that. I think Lord of the Rings is pretty outdated. I think the Stormlight Archives is a lot more approachable. I think I was listening to a podcast that was, I think the author of that? I can't remember. I'm not too familiar. But Stormlight Archive might be something I'd be interested in, because I tried a little bit of Sanderson, but again, I find high fantasy, like, a genre that I really struggle with for some reason. But, like, the bit I did read of Sanderson, which was Final Empire, I did like the magic system. I thought the magic system was really inventive. I just think, like, again, high fantasy is something I start and then I find really hard to continue. Yeah, Miss Dalloway, maybe. That could be fun. The Weary Blues by Langston Hughes. Winnie the Pooh! Ah, that was cute. Lady Chatterley's lover. Isn't this kind of like one of the key famous like English literature pieces of like porn? I mean, looking at this book cover, it's basically a woman touching herself. Really tasteful book cover. Really tasteful book cover. It shattered British squeamishness about sex into pieces, institutionally at least, telling the story of an affair between a young married aristocrat and her also married gamekeeper. It became notorious for its graphic depictions of sex and seductive language, four-letter words, and other forms of nighttime naughtiness, though it doesn't always happen in the after dark here. Oh, interesting. I was suggesting old books from the 20s era. I didn't realise Stormlight was newer. Yeah, Stormlight's newer. Yeah. What about other genres of fantasy? Okay, I'm okay with, say, like urban fantasy or like low. I don't know if low fantasy is the right term. Like, okay, I read it before, say, The Controversy also, but Good Omens and stuff. Like, I found Good Omens very approachable, which has like aspects of fantasy and just generally like, you know, those like. I've only read a little bit of Discworld, but I did like the humour. I think Pratchett's humour is really fun. I reckon the Golem and the Djinn, that's basically urban fantasy. Interesting. All Quiet on the Western Front. Ooh. Passing by Nella Larson. Yeah, okay. I'll keep looking into that. I've got like quite a few books that are on my radar still of like things I'd like to read. What's catching me on my shelf? I'm just looking. War and Peace. War and Peace. Elias never stopped streaming. Elias is always reading War and Peace. I do have War and Peace on my shelf. Yes, a nice light read. Absolutely. Yeah, it's only like 100 pages or so. It's like tiny book. I have Dune on my shelf. Again, sci-fi I kind of have the same thing with, but I really liked the Dune films, so I was like, I kind of want to check out Dune. Maybe Elias is an aesthetic reader, high fantasy is just like intellectual love to looks but oh god no, I'm being called out now! I'll show you my Frankenstein essay. Yeah, I'm an aesthetic reader. Here's my dissertation. Yeah, this is my dissertation. It like failed and everything. It was bad. It was like I was just saying the cover of Frankenstein looked really nice. And you can see my collection is full of the only highest quality tomes. So this is sort of mega first smart. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie though. I do have like a yaoi manga on my shelf that also has like classic literatures and stuff. Elias, I saw your eyes. No. The truth can't be hidden. Okay, right. I'm gonna read out some of the books that are on one of my shelves. Okay, we got where to start? Can I even read them from here? Okay. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. George Orwell, Animal Farm. Tennessee Williams, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Little Women by Mary Alcott. I haven't read that one yet. We have Dune on that shelf. Got Agatha Christie. Quite a few Agatha Christie books. Wisdom of Psychopaths by Kenneth Dutton. I had that book for years. I've never really read it. Just a few books that are on my shelf there. The only bookshelf that matters to the BL. Oh, my phone went. No, my phone died! Oh my god! Elias is fucking dead! Elias is fucking dead, guys. Stream's over. Elias is dead. I turned away and Elias fucking died. Route 2025. Yeah, the Yaoi book was Madke or Madka. I can't remember who the artist is. Yosasiri. It's kind of crazy, kind of wild, kind of crazy. I really like it though. The art style was really nice. Like, because their character designer for Capcom, Monster Hunter. So when I saw the art style, I was just like really interested in it, and then I was like, whoa. Yeah. Okay. Elias is dead, so I think we're gonna end stream. And also, like, I had those headaches. Frankenstein essay, something on the lines of sublime and nature in the pursuit of knowledge. That was probably what I've written. I've mentioned it before, but my dissertation on Frankenstein was on disability in Frankenstein, and I explored the Frankenstein's adaptational history. So the book, the plays, and the 1930s film, and a little bit of modern adaptation, to explore the depiction of, like, I guess if the creature is a disabled character, how that happens, and then modes of sympathy and empathy, and how, like, the book kind of goes from, like, a story on empathy and its importance, and how, like, in losing it we create monsters, if you will, towards a horror, which ends up, like, making the creature in a way more disabled to make it more horrific, because it becomes so distinct from, like, the able-bodied neurotypical audience. Yeah, I really like my dissertation. I'm gonna say, show me the smut. Meanwhile, my manga collection is I'm the Cat's Manservant. Nice! I got the new volume of Hanako-kun recently. It was really good. Like, I know that the next arc's probably gonna break me. I had a moment when reading it where, like, Hanako, like, sort of, like, held Nene's hand and said something really cute, and I slammed the book in my face. Just like, this is too fucking cute, I'm gonna die. Alright, okay. I'm sorry, Elias is fucking dead, so I really need to end stream, and also I need to go to bed as well. Thank you for letting me yap about things, books and whatnot. We'll find a book soon that we can actually do, like, a proper read along with. I think not a big fan of this version of Thingamajig. I don't think that Frankenstein was a good book. Maybe it was more of an intellectual book. Nah, I think I like Frankenstein. There have been way too many moments of pausing the book to just scream, yes. Yeah, I love Frankenstein personally. I think it's so interesting in regards to its I guess empathy, you know, like its story on empathy and stuff. Alright, yeah, we'll go right to Fella. Alright, thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you later.